Top of the morning, top of the afternoon, top of the evening. Welcome to Booked and Unbothered. I am your host, B. Eddie. I hope you guys are reading something fantastic, something tantalizing. This week, I do not have a book review, but I am going to share with you a short story that I've written. It's titled Underneath. It always starts with the floorboards. Before the coffee, before the water runs, before she even stirs, the house gives him away. At 4:45 a.m., his footsteps move above me, slow, measured, like he's thinking too hard this morning. Something in his rhythm is off. He's not humming, he's not talking, just pacing. He usually waits until 6. They rise together, in fact, they pair. She makes her coffee, he pours his. They speak softly, like the whole world is still asleep, except for them. But not today. Today he moves alone, and it's quiet. There's a shift in the house. I can feel it from down here, beneath the porch, tucked into the space no one knows about. They've lived here a year now, and never thought to look this deep. And that's what I count on. They don't know I'm here. They think they're alone up there. That's the funny part. They walk around barefoot, leave doors cracked open, talk too loud, laugh in bed like no one's listening. But I hear everything. I know things about them they've never told anyone. They think their house is clean and safe and sealed, but I've been collecting their secrets like trophies. I know the way he stands in front of the fridge every night, blank and motionless, bathing in the light like it's going to answer something. He never takes anything out, he just breathes, swallows, thinks, then shuts it and walks away. I know she whispers things to the mirror, full sentences. Sometimes it's laughter that sounds a little forced, sometimes it's a name, but never his name. She thinks no one can hear behind closed doors, but wood is soft. It listens. It carries things down into the crawl space if you're quiet enough. I know she locks the bathroom door even when she's home alone. He checks the back window twice before bed, never the front, never the side, just the back, like something already happened there once, and he's too afraid to admit it. They move like people who are keeping things from each other, from themselves, and I'm the only one who knows all of it. Every strange habit, every pause, every lie they tell without speaking. I keep it all tucked away in my mind like glass jars on a shelf. They have no idea how easy it is to disappear, to slip between the cracks of someone else's life. They think they're safe. They think locked doors and closed curtains mean something. But I'm closer than they could ever imagine. I know everything about them. I know the way she folds his laundry, shirts first, then socks, then boxers. I know the sound he makes when he brushes his teeth and gags when he's brushing his tongue. I know the kind of silence that falls between them when they argue. The kind that doesn't leave bruises but leaves something worse. And I know what it's like to be erased. Because she did that to me. That's right. She wasn't always Mrs. Snyder. She had another name when she was mine. Another face. She laughed louder back then, her eyes were wilder. She said I made her feel like she could breathe. Until he came along, with his promises, his polished shoes, his careful hands. She traded fire for comfort and left me in the ashes. She didn't even say goodbye, just disappeared into a life she didn't earn. So I followed her here, watched her build this little dream house, watched her plant flowers, paint walls, make this hers. But it's not hers, not really. Because I never left. Once I'm inside, I don't rush. There's no need. I know exactly how long I have. She usually works from home on Thursdays and Fridays, but Monday through Wednesday, she leaves for work at the exact same time every single morning. So precise. It's like muscle memory. Never late, always early enough to settle in before anyone arrives. She's always been that way, even when we were together. Always needing to be the first one in the room, the one who looked the most prepared, like punctuality could protect her from falling apart. It never did. The house is quiet, still holding their warmth in the walls. I walk through like I'm in a museum, careful not to disturb anything unless it needs correcting. I fix the throw that's on the couch. I refold the blanket. She's always too lazy to fix. She forgets a lot of things. In the bathroom, I open her drawer. She's still using that same body wash I told her that even though it smelled good on her, that it made her break out. She never listened. I unscrew the cap, smell it, recap it, and place it exactly where it was. I go to the bedroom. I sit on the edge of the bed. I see her hoodie that's thrown across the chair. I had that same exact hoodie. We bought them when we went to DC together, where we had to go to the Smithsonian Museum and we enjoyed ourselves. She wore it on our last trip together. I remember how the wind was so intense. She was so happy that the sweatshirt had a hood on it. I touch it lightly, just for a moment. Sometimes I imagine she walks back in and finds me sitting there, not screaming, not scared, just stunned. Like maybe for 1 second she'd remember what it felt like to be mine. Something's wrong. I feel it the second I step inside. Nothing looks different, not at first. Though the trash still needs to be taken out and the dishwasher hadn't been ran. The house has this lingering smell of coffee like always, but something's off. It's in the air. Like the house is aware of me now. I walk through the room slower than usual, quieter. My fingertips hover over surfaces I usually touch without thinking. I start to count things like 3 coffee cups in the sink instead of 2, or a grocery bag on the counter that wasn't there yesterday. A scuff mark on the floor by the back door, I don't remember seeing that one before. Open the fridge, then close it again. I stare at the magnets, straighten one that's crooked, then I freeze. There's a photo I haven't seen before, tucked beneath the phone bill on the fridge. It's them, smiling, relaxed, lying on a blanket in the backyard, sunlight pouring over them like something out of a movie. She has on that shirt I heard him tell her he likes. He's barefoot, her head is on his chest. But it's not the pose that makes my stomach drop. It's the corner of the photo. There beyond the edge of the porch railing is a silverfish shadow, a shape. It's me, curled into the crawl space opening, half in darkness, barely visible but there. I must have been sleeping or still or just breathing slow enough to blend into the dirt. They didn't see me. They couldn't have. But now I'm caught in the background like a ghost accidentally caught in a family photo. I stare at it so long the edges blur. I wasn't supposed to be in that picture. I was never meant to be seen. I saw the photo, put it back exactly the way I found it, didn't touch anything else, didn't breathe too loud, didn't blink more than I had to. I walked out the way I came in, careful and clean, back under the porch, back where I belong. Oh, something shifted. I could feel it. Not panic yet, but the kind of pressure that builds before a storm, like the air itself is holding its breath. I've stayed invisible this long because I've been perfect. Every move precise, every detail restored, but now, a crack, a photo, a blurred figure in the background, me? They might not have noticed, but what if they did? What if they're pretending not to? What if they're watching me now the same way I've been watching them? I run the whole day over in my head. What I touched, what I didn't, what I left behind, where I might have stayed too long. Nothing stands out. But that's what scares me because it means it's not about what I did. It means the house is waking up. And if it sees me, really sees me, then everything has to change. I've spent so long hiding. I forget what it feels like to make a decision. But I don't want to hide anymore, not after seeing that picture, not after seeing myself in their perfect little life, blurred, yes, but there. And now, a promise. This ends with me. She always liked routine. Same coffee cup, same coffee, same spoon, 2 sugars, routine. It won't hurt. Not much. She'll feel dizzy, tired, maybe sit down on the couch with her coffee and think she didn't get sleep. She won't even know what's happening until she's already half gone. That's when I'll come up, not from behind, not like a monster, straight from the crawl space, clean and calm, and I'll sit beside her just like I used to. I'll hold her hand, and I'll drink the same coffee and the same sugar, because this time we leave together. She works from home today. I don't even need to check anymore. Her life runs on rhythm, predictable, precise. That's why this will work. The coffee maker starts at 6 a.m. It always does. That's the last thing she programs before going to bed. That and adding her 2 scoops of sugar in her favorite coffee cup. Like she always does. Same routine, same mistakes. I hear footsteps overhead at 6:02. I'm assuming she's doing the pour. She doesn't stir it, doesn't need to. The sweetness is already at the bottom, waiting. So is everything else. I wait 3 minutes. That's all it takes. Then I step out of the crawl space for the last time. No hesitation, no creeping, just movement. She's sitting at the kitchen table, blinking slow. Her mouth parted like she's about to speak, but can't remember how. Her eyes meet mine, and for a second, I see it. The question. And the answer. She knows. I pour a second cup from the pot. I sit across from her. I sip. The air is warm with silence. She tries to lift her hand, but it doesn't move. So I reach out and I hold it for her. No words, no goodbye. She doesn't deserve one. Neither do I. Okay, quick note. That piece that you just heard, my short story, it's short on purpose, but it's also kind of not, because as I was writing it and reading it out loud, I realized that there's so much more I could add to that. There's so much more detail, and I feel like it's a good start to something. The premise is great. I can make the characters engaging. I don't know, just reading, since I've been reading some short stories, reading short stories has honestly given me confidence to even think short term, because when I read a story, I like detail. Hell, I even like to feel like I'm part of the story. And I don't know, it's just giving me the confidence to write a little bit more. So I thank you for listening to my story, and maybe I'll do a few more in the future. So this concludes this week's episode of Booked and Unbothered. I'm sorry I don't have a book review for you guys this week, but next week I will. Thank you for listening to my story, and just keep reading. Stay booked and unbothered. See you next week.